So now I want to talk to you about two different ways of thinking about programming. And these two different ways, you've already been doing them, but I want to give you the names of what they're called. And it's called procedural programming and object-oriented programming. So basically, what's happening is procedural programming is when you write a list of instructions, like, go A, B, C, D, or, step one, step two, step three. You're giving a recipe and you need to kind of follow it in order. And object-oriented is, instead of doing it like a list, is that you build an object, and that object kind of knows what to do and has its own built-in group of procedures that it does for itself. So that's why we're kind of doing both. We've written small little procedures that get attached to an object, and so that object knows how to deal with that. And so this is why, like, this picture here shows like your main program, and you kind of follow, like, you go from the start and you finish and do all the different pieces and parts in kind of an order. Where the object-oriented is kind of like you have these little gray circles around everything, and it's because that is an object into itself, and it has little functions or modules or procedures that are within themselves that when you do something, it activates in that. And so that's kind of the main difference between the two. So this is the function that we built last week for when we ran into the flag and we did the collision on the flag, and we checked to see when it overlapped, and it did stuff to display the widget that we wanted to show that you win, right? So it's a procedure function or module because when it activates, it goes in a line and does this one particular thing, and that's it, right? And we wrote it and we put it into the flag. So that was the object we made. We made an object, and that object had this procedure in it so that when we ran into it, it did this. Otherwise, it just sat there and looked pretty, right? So that's kind of what a procedure is just, and like if you could have a whole program that is just procedural based, and that means that from start to finish, you have it all mapped out exactly how it goes. Whereas nowadays, things are much more based on an object, like how the user inputs is going to affect what it goes and does. And it might miss some code completely and entirely, right? If we never touched this flag, we would never have gotten this code to pop up. So it's never going to be in the plan. It's only going to get in the plan if we move the character to the flag and it sees it. So having the code based on the object makes it so that if I wanted to, I could take that flag that we made and I could put it into another game. And if somebody came across that, as long as I also copied the widget, right, and I could left them the same names, that the second that happened and they came across it in the new game, it would have the same reaction. And so that's kind of the benefits of object-oriented programming versus procedural-based programming. Kind of the benefits of, there's benefits to both and reasons why you would do code in both. Now in Unreal, we're using object-oriented with procedures for each things that we do. But so procedures, they're easy to follow and read for us humans. It's nice that we could kind of follow the linear path. We get that. They're great for smaller programs like linear stuff and like doing like one little part, right, is a procedure. And they're good for scripting sequences of events. So if you know what you're going to be doing and you want everything to flow in a certain order, you would use procedural based. Using object-oriented, so that is more, like I said, more reusable code. Like if we wanted to take the flag and move it to another one, it makes it easy. You can break down a large program into small little manageable pieces, which is nice. You don't have to know the whole flow of the whole thing. You could add to it. You could, it kind of mirrors like what we do in real life, right? We don't have a set path that we only go down this certain way every time. We usually take things as they come, and so Unreal is built in object-oriented programming. So all of the items, like all the actors, everything we put in the environment is specifically built where it's kind of a standalone item where it interacts with itself, and so you put it into the environment and you can deal with it. So that's object-oriented and procedural-based programming kind of in a synopsis. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.